All right.
Fantastic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Creative Tavern. My name is Christopher Lee. I am a concept artist, and I've been in this industry for about 10 years or so, working with companies such as Walt Disney Imagineering and I always get this one wrong, Universal Creative. And I'm here today with my buddy Michael.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Welker. I am a writer and semi-retired theme park producer, where I have also worked with Walt Disney Imagineering and Universal Creative, most recently as a producer on Super Nintendo World in Osaka, Japan. And once that project was completed, where both Chris and I were working on that, we had free time. We weren't on any major project together. We said, hey, let's put our heads together and do a project ourselves. And so we started working on basically learning how to make a video game. Neither of us have ever made a video game before, even though we've both kind of worked, adjacent to video game projects in the past. And we said, hey, we're meeting twice a week to work on this thing. Why don't we stream this and let other people have like a window into this creative process? Could be interesting for them, and it'd be a great way for us to keep a record of what we've done ourselves. And so that's where you are right now. You're going to get ready to see one of our design sessions where Chris and I update each other on what we've done since the last session and what we're planning to do for the next session. So buckle up, grab a drink, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Michael, for mentioning that. We've been doing this every single week, and if you guys want to catch up with us, I always upload our videos at the end of the show during that night. I upload it to YouTube. So if you want to catch up, I believe we're on meeting number 13 now. I believe, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we've been
That's
doing this for the past, I mean, like four weeks now, and it's been 4 or 5 weeks now, and it's been a lot of fun just sharing all your guys's uh, just being here with you guys and being able to share everything that we've been doing with you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and do a quick recap of what we talked about last week, and because I went because Michael went first last week, I will go ahead and go first this time. And let me do this. Heads up really quick, we may have mucho technical issues today, but it's fine since we are more or less kind of, you know, just learning as we go. You guys can see that? Michael, can you see that?
Yep, I can see it
Uh,
in Discord.
Nice. And chat, you can see that hopefully too. And I will make this just a little bit bigger so that you guys can see this as well. Perfect. Awesome. All right. Um, so let me show you guys what I did last week. Oh, hold on. This is without any music, and so this is just us going through inside the little Scene 4 tunnel. The Scene 4 tunnel is going to be a little bit more interesting. This is just to show what it can look like. After we go into the tunnel, then we are going into Scene 5, kind of like the finale scene where we actually see the boss. And the story element is, oh, I just realized a lot of the chords are not in there. Sorry about that, guys. Um, Actually, let me
A lot
back
of
up
the
really quick.
chords.
Yeah, I have the wrong thing set up. That's why. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Is it this one? Yes, this is the last week's one because the one that I was showing was actually the one that I did for this week. So I'm
Oh,
just showing. So this is what I did last week.
I love the contrast between like how fast we go there and then right there, that moment where we kind of like open into that space.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
and that's something I want to talk to you about, Michael, because one of the reasons why it has had such an impactful moment, and I'll share the video with you guys with audio a little bit later after this, is that it the video at the start it was timed with the beat of the music. So I'm very curious, like, should we
Mm-hmm.
design the the our stage with the music? Do you know what I mean? Like when the bass drops or when there's like a crescendo or
Totally.
you know what I mean? Like just we got to find a music that actually goes with it, and then we essentially, you know, plan our game around it. I don't know, that might not be the best solution, but I know for a fact that, music plays such a huge role in any visual medium, like movies and video games. It'll make or break it, right?
Right. Yeah. What I would say to that is yes, there is absolutely a pass of the game that we should do to like reverse engineer it around those musical moments to like
Hmm.
adjust the pacing for that. But I don't
Right.
think we're quite there yet. I wouldn't start
Yeah.
at this stage to
Oh,
build around
totally.
that.
Right.
We can start like looking for music that has the right tone, which the music that you had chosen um, for this animatic
Hmm.
um, is very appropriate, very cool, very high energy, kind of synthy, cyber techy, which is
Tron-ish.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think though the the bigger pieces we need to get into place now are all the stuff that we're working on, like trying to figure out like, okay, how are we going to move through this space? Okay, well, there's these different couplings that we're going to want to hit when we're flying around in there. Um, Once we have those things in place, then we can start working on like, okay, we know this is how, like, these are the moments, these are the beats that are going to happen. Now we can talk about pacing, and
Hmm.
then we want
Hmm.
to move really fast, and we want this next part to start right here at 1 minute and 42 seconds because that's when the bass drop happens, and then we want this other thing to happen. So it's kind of this like you know big mixing melting pot of things that are happening, and so yes, that is something that we will need to do. I think at this stage though, we're totally okay to keep uh, moving ahead without having like locked in a
Hmm.
soundtrack. I think
Hmm.
it'll be
Hmm.
okay.
Okay, nice, nice. And if you will, I am going to attempt to share the video one more time with the chat as well as
Sure.
with you. So I'm going to do share screen, do scene 5, go live. Okay, so you guys see that, and hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Do you see that, Michael?
I do.
Okay, and hopefully you guys see that chat as well. Let me go ahead and play this right now. Do you guys hear music? Hopefully you guys can hear music. I have a feeling they don't hear the music. Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Give me one moment, chat. Ba. Let me
I
add
definitely
audio.
heard the music in case that's at all
Great.
helpful.
Yeah, that's actually great. Sorry guys, let me do the boss sound
Oh,
me.
Confetti Yeti's here.
Hey,
It says,
Confetti
"Hey,
Yeti.
and I don't hear music." So you
All
were
right.
right. The chat was not hearing
Okay.
the music.
Good. All right. Hold your
Um,
ears really quick. Hold. I think I got it, but let me play it one more time. Do you guys hear anything?
I hear it.
Okay. What about the chat? Man, that music makes it so much cooler. Shit.
Yeah, for sure. Music makes a big difference.
Yeah. So the last scene, I wish it is my desire and will to make it as epic as possible.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's my wish, but hopefully we could do it. I mean, a
I,
lot of
I
things
think
can
we
go.
will.
I hope so too, man. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I mean, well, what we have like as an initial schematic is
Mhm,
pretty
mhm.
awesome. Like that opening sequence feels great, and then being able to like fly around in this space and spend time, because that's one of the things that's like kind of a big challenge with rail shooter bosses, in my opinion, is they often don't feel very epic, and some of the
Mhm,
bosses
mhm.
can feel kind of underwhelming. But this, I
Sure.
think, if we can like find a way to get maybe or a couple of stages of fighting the boss, like maybe you first detach the couplings and then then the boss gets like pissed and then is like moving around in the space and you're actually
Yeah.
shooting it and fighting it. Um, but this like environment is really super cool.
Yeah, and also I was thinking like maybe the boss can be like trying to track you with the laser beam or something. Like, all of a
Ooh,
sudden we're flying and all
yeah.
of a sudden like this huge red laser beam is like, and we have to like dodge it. And maybe there's like other bad guys that's like chasing us as well. I don't know. I mean, that's something that you and I
Totally.
have to figure out. But after this entrance, I'll stop it. Yeah, I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so anyways, one comment that was given last week was that you would like to see um, the top, or in my mind, is that you would like to see the top of the asteroid to kind of feel like it's been crushed into, like the mini boss has kind of like dug its way into the asteroid to obtain the minerals of this
Hmm.
environment, right? So there's one thing, and then the other comment was that this, for example, this structure right here, it feels. Can you see my mouse, by the way? Perchance, any at all? Can you see my mouse?
I cannot see your mouse.
Okay.
No.
The structure, the red coupling where the red structure is living on right
Yeah,
now, it's
the
at
like
an
K
angle.
brace thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels too much like the mini boss. It feels like, that this
Mm-hmm.
environment belongs to the bad guys, and we're actually invading the bad
Right.
guys' base, right? So that's not that great story-wise. It looks cool, but story-wise, it may not work as well. So, my goal for this week, at least, was to design it so that it feels like a oil refinery, right? All right. So the next thing I would like to share is my screen again. Doop. Screen four, boop, and hopefully you can see it. Uh, while
I
I'm
think so.
setting it up, Michael, do you mind reading some of the comments?
Sure. Okay, let's see. Michael, Captain Blue says, Michael, did you show Christopher Roller Coaster Tycoon since last time? No, not yet, but that might actually be a lot of fun to watch.
Nice,
Two,
nice.
four, or like two theme park guys actually playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and making a level. Let's see. Captain Blue Blue also says, thought you should make the music in stages that triggers depending on what's happening, as in Doom 2016. For example, you have music that plays in the corridor. Then you have a part of the song that works with the pass around the boss. But if the boss isn't done one pass, most likely it won't be, the game should loop the pass and therefore the section of the song too. I hope that hope I was somewhat clear with what I meant. I think I understood what you were saying. Basically, like we can uh, take different components of the music and have them play when different things are happening in the game. So like when the boss reveal happens, you've got a certain piece of music playing, and then there's another musical track that you're playing maybe on loop while you're fighting the boss, and then that keeps playing until you defeat the boss, and then you've got the like boss defeated music that will then start playing. You
Mm,
can kind of just like trigger different pieces of music to play. Um, uh, for example, like one of the things that a lot of games do is they'll have an invisible like collision box where once the player passes through that, it knows, okay, now the player is
triggers it.
ready. Yeah, exactly. It triggers this
Yeah,
like type of music to be playing.
yeah.
Um, Confetti Yeti says, "Yeah, I can hear it now." Okay, looks like they were talking about the
Mhm,
music.
mhm.
Ken Boobu said the music might have been a little bit low though. Sounds epic. And Captain Blue Blue, about my last comment about the music, this assumes the game knows what part of the stage in the level it is in. Yeah, that's something that I would need to program, but I'm pretty confident that I've got the basics to be able to do that.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
Great, and I think we're caught up.
Awesome, cool. Thank you so much, Michael, for buying me some time. Thank you guys for the chat, for asking and commenting. You guys are awesome and helping me. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen again with Michael and you guys. Boop. and boop, and that's it. Yep. Okay. So, no music. This is just me playing it as a new environment. Okay.
Sure.
God, I wish I could see your face, but who cares? I'm playing it now. We're
Oh
doing
yeah.
the same thing. We're doing the same thing. We're doing this. And chat and Michael, I did not change the path, the playing path, so there will be a lot of
Mm,
clipping. So,
okay. Whoa.
and this is just kind of like a
Holy
really quick, just
crap.
trying to figure out how it feels if it's like,
Oh
columns,
yeah.
columns of fuel tanks and shit, and then the mini boss has like shot out like its little claws in here to drain out
Mm-hmm.
the fuel. Um,
Yeah. This is epic. I love it.
good, good, yay! I'm glad you like it.
Wow,
Uh,
so
the
cool.
the path is more or less. Oh, clipping! Oh, we're
Oh,
destroyed.
yeah. We're
Yep,
dead.
yep,
We just
we're
collided with
dead.
the column.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually really like the addition of the columns. It makes the space feel like it is addressing that problem that we have been running into with this idea of like, well, if you're not close to terrain, it's really hard to tell that you're moving.
Hmm.
This is
Whoa.
kind of, I mean, wasn't a problem in the last version of it, but it's definitely adding to that sense of like speed and intensity
Hmm.
and threat
Yeah.
of like, oh, there's all this stuff to crash into.
Yeah.
But it still feels like this big cavernous space. Like this is amazing. I am really loving this. Good
Yay.
job,
Uh,
guys. This is
awesome.
great.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you. Oh, no, we're crashing to the fuel. I'm glad you like it. Because I struggled a lot with. Oh. Wait. We'll dive into it later. I wanted to say something, but I don't want to.
Sure.
I'll, yeah. But whoa, and this right there, when we went through between the little two giant gourds, that was by pure luck.
Nice.
Oh man. Oh no. You know. But yeah, it was a challenge trying to, just make this environment feel a little bit less bad guy-y, cause and
Hmm.
I'll break down the shapes for you um as we as I break it down. So let me go ahead and stop this, and let me just go ahead and um I'm gonna do X-ray
Whoa.
mode. I said
Okay.
X-ray, X-ray, X-ray. There you go. All right. Let me just to kind of nerd out is not the right word, but show the difference between what was changed. So this was the old stuff. This is what it looked like before, um,
Hmm.
and it feels more angular, uh,
Hmm.
very much like the bad guy is also. Can you see my mouse, by the
Mm.
way?
Yep, I can see your mouse.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, cool. Like
in
this.
Discord at least.
Okay, good. And people can see my mouse too. Okay, good. This is very angled as well as this is very angled as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I
Yeah,
went
good
ahead
eye.
and took that. Well, that was your comment as well as the chat's comment. So I took that away, and then I'm like, well, what is working is the circular little platforms right here. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Totally.
what if I go ahead and use that as well? So let me create the new structure. So instead of like a sharp angled structure,
Hmm.
it's more of a circular structure, right? I mean, right now
Sure.
it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'll make that a little bit sexier, nicer looking. But it's not angle. So that was one of my goals to make it feel a little bit more organic than the straight edge angles. And then the next thing I wanted to add was the fuel columns. So essentially, that's what they are. They're just, individual fuel columns. Hold on, let me turn on backface culling. There you go. They're just
Cool.
they're just columns, right? And it's not really designed. It's just something for us to fly in and out of. And well, I could play with the design. Before I forget, in this is a conversation I want to have with you. Is that I don't want to design everything in Blender because I am afraid once I design everything in Blender, uh, I would have to export it to Unity, and then mm, they would all become different assets. Instead, for
Mm,
example, I just want to create one asset and then
mhm.
repeat it, right? Same thing with,
Sure.
for example, same thing with this. I just want to create one and then in Unity, rotate it however I want so that we're just using one piece and not like
Mhm,
like six pieces, right? Because that's part of game design is you want to save memory and all that stuff. You want to optimize things, right? Um, so that's one thing I want to keep in mind that I want to spend a lot of time designing one thing, and then so we could repeat it throughout the environment. Design one thing, and then we could double that up as well for this thing as well, maybe, and make one of this, and then duplicate it, make it smaller scale for this little guy right here. So, just design smart, right? Um,
totally.
yeah, that's one thing I wanted to do. And as you can tell, uh, this area right here, I am I'm trying to show that this little opening, there's like asteroids above right here.
Mhm,
It's as if the bad guys like burrowed its way in here. Like imagine if it's like like spinning or some shit like
mhm.
and then it's like finally down here, and then we have all these like asteroids. Right now they're just I just placed it just to show that it's been hacked through, it's been drilled through, and obviously these walls right now, the walls that you see here is still very very clean. Right now at this
Mhm.
point, I don't really care. It's just an open space. So that's
Sure.
why I kind of just took these asteroids that I created weeks earlier, and then just kind of more or less combined it together to show and give it an opening. Because without them, they kind of look like just, oh, it's a pretty circle, right? So
Mhm.
just to give a sense of visual interest. And with that said, visual interest, um, if I look up, if I look up, and if I say the words Route 66, does that ring a bell?
The dangling train?
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. When we look up, I want this up this area right here to feel like
Oh,
shit's been
cool.
damaged. Obviously, I didn't really do a good job. I
Got
just
it.
I just I just wanted to like show, oh shit, there's something dangling right here, because he
Right,
came
like, the
down here.
implication being that that
Yep.
armature was connected at the top when she came in, it broke through it.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, chat. What I was trying to get Michael to say from Route 66, and his answer was exactly what I was looking for, was the dangly train is because in Route 66, there at the beginning of the stage, when you look up as a first-person shooter player, you would see like there's like essentially a dangling train because in the story, Ash and her team basically blew up a train rail. Is that right? Railway system,
Yep,
and
yep.
yeah, and then there's like pieces of it dangling, and that's what I was essentially trying to show. And I'm so glad that you said that, Michael. I was like, oh God, I hope he could get it, or else I look like a
Oh,
freaking
yeah, it's
idiot.
cool.
But
Great idea.
story wise, I wanted to show there's like destruction up top. Obviously, it looks like shit right now, but that's
No, no,
just
no, it
a
looks cool.
placeholder. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's about it. I think that's what I wanted to share. Oh, and also I created this claw thingy majiggy as if and maybe Michael, I might have to go back in and kind of redesign, maybe modify the bad guys. Uh, because right now I kind of just showed like various little grappling hooks that's coming out from the bottom, from the base of
Mhm,
the
mhm.
mini boss, right? Um, I mean that may or may not work. If it was static, then I guess that's fine. But I mean, if story-wise we destroyed, let's say we're flying through and we destroy this thing, and then this thing falls apart, right? Maybe
Mhm.
maybe that's how we do it. It'll just kind of just like disappear, like fall, and right? Because right
Hmm.
now is just looking, because it's just looking like it's just coming out from its underside, like from here it's just like, it latches onto the fuel source, and it's just
Hmm.
sucking up all the fuel source. And then once everything is destroyed, let me turn that down. Then it's like, oh, time to get the fuck out of here. Bye. You know, do something like that.
Yeah,
Boop.
totally.
All right. And I will let it play. Oh shit. I'll let it play for now. Yes, your thoughts, Michael.
Um, the so overall the decisions that you made I think are awesome. Like really good call on changing those angular K braces to these sort of like, geodesic dome kind of circular structures. That definitely separates it from the like architectural vocabulary of the drones and stuff. Definitely looks like, oh, these are there's two different architects here now. There's one that's making these sharp angled uh, enemies, and then somebody else built this room. I think we can probably continue to lean into that with not at this level because it's just rough shapes in animatic, but when we start like actually refining and or making the bump maps, maybe we can give the like the environment more rounded shapes, and maybe there's some more like round pipes and things in
Mm-hmm,
there,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, to kind of continue to emphasize that soft round shape is like this is a friendly, and
Right,
then keep leaning into nice sharp edges for the enemies to heighten these are bad guys.
right,
Kind of like continue to emphasize that sort of shape vocabulary. So that's cool.
right, right.
Um, what's going on up at the top where the sort of like the with the asteroids and things, um I kind of like it when that's pretty clean up at the top. I like the version where it was cleaner rather than having the like crumbly rock pieces.
Uh-huh.
It's possible that maybe if the because right there where those like as big as those are, I think maybe is the issue. Like if they were much smaller, maybe it'd be okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And or it could be possible that instead of having the idea being that that was like solid rock that the boss like drilled and bored a hole through. What if that was like an exhaust vent tunnel? So she had kind of like broken like just come through this engineered exhaust tunnel ventilation system, crashed through the the fan that was in the top of the room to kind of like exhaust the I don't know toxic fumes or whatever from the mining operation. Um, so you can still get that like that area where she had broken through the existing structure because I really like what you're doing with the the dangly Route 66 pieces. Like that's
Mm-hmm,
really
mm-hmm,
cool. And we
mm-hmm.
can even probably animate some of those things and maybe have them like fall at key moments to
Oh
like nearly
yeah,
hit the player.
yeah. Like we have to dodge it.
Ooh. Or even maybe if those are higher up and the boss is lower, you have to shoot those and they drop down on her to like damage her.
Oh
That could be kind of
yeah.
cool too.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of cool.
but yeah, so like what you have on screen right now with the sort of like relatively clean opening at the top, that feels better to me. I think maybe partially too because it's with the asteroids, it looks a little too busy and it's kind of taking away from the focal point of the boss being up there.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I
at
would
least that's
say
a.
I would
Go ahead.
say don't read too much into it, because that is just a placeholder. Again, that's one of the reasons
Right,
why I'm
just to indicate like, ah, there's rocks here.
just exactly. I'm and one of the scary thing, or not scary, but one of the things I'm afraid of is because of how it looks, people are afraid that, oh my God, that's the end result. That's how it's gonna look. Usually, yeah, because
No.
that's exactly what I didn't want to hear. But that is also part of the reason why, if you don't do it, uh, if you don't spend enough time finessing it, people will get the bad visual feel. Because yeah, right now it does look super not clean and really chunky. But that's just,
Mhm.
again, that's just the placeholder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I mean,
that
definitely
mm,
keep going. If you've got a vision for it and you're like, oh yeah, I think it's going to look great, then absolutely keep trucking along.
but I would say that I'm glad you said you brought it up is because it you actually came up with a really really good idea about how we have to shoot things in order to kind of hit the mini boss, right?
Yeah, because I think that's way more interesting than just shooting the boss.
Yeah, yeah.
And it also creates, and this is something I'm constantly trying to do or be mindful of in game design, is a
Uh-huh.
sense of progression. Because one of the most like satisfying things in really almost any form of entertainment is this feeling of progression.
Right.
So like when you play Overwatch, and you're leveling up your by playing the game, and you get you go from your bronze border to your silver border and so on and
Mhm.
so forth.
Mhm.
You're getting a lot of
Mhm.
stars. You're like, yeah, I'm progressing. You're unlocking all these skins. Same thing happens when you're reading a book, when you're reading a novel, and you're like, each new chapter you complete, you're getting closer and closer to the end until by the time you get to like, oh my god, I'm on the last chapter, and you've got this like nice thick chunk of pages that you've completed. You feel this like sense of accomplishment.
Right.
Um, Same thing with like fighting bosses is it's and that's one of the reasons why you want to use a health bar. That way you can see progress like, oh yeah, I've almost taken out the boss. But it's also cool when there are these moments where it's like, okay, clearly there are 5 dangling pieces above the boss, and
Mhm.
each time
Mhm.
I shoot one of those, it falls down and damages her. So
Right.
once you do number 1, 2, 3, 4, by the time you've completed those, you're like, I'm almost there. Like I've got one more to go. It creates this sort of like additional meta layer of progression
Right.
that I think is much more interesting than just like shoot the thing until it dies.
Right, right, right. Um, I want to take a look at what Captain Blue Blue is saying because he posted
Oh
some
wow,
stuff.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
quite a lot there.
yeah.
Go for it.
Thank you so much. Oh, okay. So Captain Blue Blue says, tip about optimization from an engine point of view. Today polygons are much cheaper than it used to be. Ooh, that's a good thing, right? What has become more costly is texture memory. Ah, you
Mm,
will want to reuse the same assets if you can because then it won't have to load in as many textures. Got it. Got it. Great. So everything's on my end again. Damn it. Uh, so don't worry about one object having too many meshes as much. I would worry more of the materials that it can snowball into. Got it. Understood. So so essentially what he is saying is make as many geometry as I want to, but just
mhm,
use one textures for all those geometry.
mhm.
I mean, try to at least. And also he says, in fact, studying the scene while you talk, I think a good idea would be to make the green tanks be its own mesh in the same object and use the same material for all of the tanks. Yep, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. Yep, 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 yep. You can see my head bobbing up and down, right? Yep.
Yes, I can.
I'm super tiny right now. It's so small. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
Oh
pretending
yeah,
to
it
be
is
a
tiny.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm pretending to be part of the discussion. No, you are part of
You
this
are part of the
discussion. What
discussion.
the frack are
That's
you
why we're
talking about,
doing this
man?
live.
That's exactly why we're streaming this is so that you could be part of it, man. So take that back. Don't be sorry. And thank you.
Oh, and I think we
Thank
missed
you.
one more from Captain Blue Blue above that. He
Oh,
said,
shit.
New thought. It would be cool if some part of the passes, like where it made a sharp turn and there was no enemies to shoot, the model actually turns with the sharp turn, but let the camera be the same. This way you can give the player a treat of seeing the profile of the ship and address awkward turns that have to be done, but could give motion sickness if the camera did that turn too. Oh yeah, okay, I understand what he's saying. He's
Oh.
basically saying
Oh,
like
cool.
when you're flying, you're kind of like
Yeah, I
looking
see
at
you. Yep. Mhm.
the butt of the plane, right? And
Right.
then when
Yeah.
the camera moves, the camera is moving with the plane, but it's always looking at the ass of the plane. If the
Yeah.
plane was going to turn really quickly, it could go like this,
Uh-huh.
and then
Uh-huh.
the camera could like move around. That
Yeah.
way, the player could get like a cool profile shot, like, oh man, look at how badass my plane is. But and
Yeah.
then the camera can like, I think they call it damping. I'm learning this from like my Cinemachine knowledge, where then the camera can like smoothly move to the position as opposed to just like
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
slamming around or
Mhm.
moving
Mhm.
exactly and then spinning around and you get motion sickness.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's like a very cinematic view of not just, staring at its ass all the time, but it's like actually, it's like it's a cinematic shot, right? It's a cinematic
Sure.
a POV, right? So I think that's cool. That's a great idea, Captain Blue. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate
And
that.
there's the potential for doing something. Here, maybe this one will be a little bit better because it's a little bigger. I was watching the way Star Fox works. I'll do it from like your angle. So like this is your Star Fox ship, right? In that game, when you turn, you can actually turn the ship like that much, and the camera won't turn. But you kind of like fly this way, and then you can turn the ship and fly that way, and
Mm.
you can do this sort of thing. So you're actually seeing a lot of the ship instead of it being kind of just like locked into the butt of the ship. So we've got a little bit of that with the way the ship kind of like rolls and yaws and things like that. Um, but yeah, we can definitely look into smoothing out the camera damping and also giving maybe a couple of little moments where you can actually see that really badass model of the ship instead of just always staring at the butt.
Yeah, yeah. Because we are going to put a lot of love in the on the plane. Just to texture it, make it look cool. All
For
right.
sure.
Sorry, I'm going to go back to the model really quick. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Screens and boom, and do this.
Oh,
And
I
go
gotta
like
watch
this.
stream. Click.
Bam. There you go. Um.
Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, you go ahead.
One other thing that I thought of that I think would be really cool, and I'm
Take
I'm
your pro
taking the producer
take no
off.
take your producer's hat off. Throw that away.
Um, it would be really awesome if in this space, if we made the pit boss just a little bit smaller,
Uh-huh.
or maybe adjusted the scale of the pit boss to the environment. And with regard to like your redesign, maybe if we go down that path, we'll look at that too. But I thought like it would be so cool if when you first come to this space, she's kind of locked in and sucking up all the power, and maybe she's in this sort of like sleep like state where she's drawing in energy. And then once you destroy all the couplings, then she wakes up. But
Uh-huh.
instead of just staying where she is, what if she was like this mechanical spider that would like leap to a column and like grab onto it and then would be like swiping at you or something as you flew past? And then she would like be jumping from like column to column, hugging onto the energy core thing. And so then you'd have this battle where you were flying around and she's like grabbing onto these columns and swiping at you and then leaping to them, and so you're trying to, I don't know, uh,
You,
fight her in
Michael,
that way
you,
instead of just
you got the assassin from Overwatch in your head. That's what I'm picturing.
yeah, exactly. Man, those things are so hard to kill.
Yeah.
But yes, same kind of idea where, it would be not quite as quickly where that thing's like warping around. I'm not thinking about that. You would actually see this thing leaping through the air, grabbing on, and, really have a lot of weight, like a kaiju, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you would
Uh-huh.
imagine King Kong or something that's climbing onto something where
Yeah.
it's slow and hefty and the whole structure shakes, and then this thing is like just dominating this space and moving around in this environment. So you get this sense of threat from its agility and its size and its
Yeah.
weight. Of course, that would be a huge pain in the ass to have to animate and program, which is the reason why I had to take the producer's hat off to say all that. That would be really cool, but
Let's
so
keep it in
I
mind
don't know.
though. Let's
Okay,
let's keep that in the back of our heads. That's a really cool. I love the fact that we have to more or less chase it because that gives another story point element to the game. Is not just now it's done or now I'm going to disappear. But it actually gives us a chance to show how formidable the mini boss it really is. Yeah, yeah, I
hell
like that.
yeah,
Yeah, nice.
uh,
Good
yeah.
man. Yeah,
Anyway,
that's good.
so you were gonna say something, I think, before I went off on that rant. Maybe
If I was,
it's gone.
it was very very significant, and it would be a game changer
It would have
had I
changed
got
everything.
it would have changed everything, but we lost it.
Okay,
That's
well,
fine.
it's gone forever.
So it's just gone. And chat, I apologize. Before I accidentally clicked on Illustrator, and Illustrator opened my recent enamel pin design file. So I apologize that it just showed up out of nowhere. You guys are probably like,
What
what
the
the
hell are
hell
they
was that?
talking about?
Well, why is that little anime girl on the screen? So yeah, that was my one of my anime pins that I designed for my Kickstarter, which is actually going on right now. Yeah. So
Woo!
go and check it out. But yes, that's what that was. So I apologize for that. But yeah, Michael, is there anything else do you want to see on this model right here?
Um, no, I think it's cool. The only last thing that I'll say is I really like the circular disc components. So any additional like revisions or work that you do on it, try to keep those because
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
those are really cool.
Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, yeah. And the reason why they're shaped more like a octagon is that one, two, three, four,
Hmm.
five,
A
hexagon. One,
hexagon.
two, three. Hexagon is because I wanted to conserve vert count
Polys.
again. Polys, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, we could make it more round if we wanted to, but I just wanted to keep it as low poly as
yeah, that's
best as
fine.
I can. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
Captain Blue Blue says, not that the butt is ugly. I'm not shaming the butt. I like it, and I cannot lie. Profiles are cool too. I agree. I agree.
Absolutely.
He also says enamel pin covert advertising. Yep, yep, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Thank God it wasn't like one of my clients or, holy
Oh
shit. It's
yeah.
like they
Whoops.
just imagine like
So,
the
so much
NDA
for
and
that
all of a sudden,
NDA.
oh, it's like shit, man. All right. Anyways, but okay, that's all I have to share, Michael. Good.
Amazing.
Can I
Yeah,
can I
that's
give
that's
you the ball now?
fantastic. Sure, sure,
All right.
sure.
So let me stop streaming. But yeah,
Gross.
cool. Awesome.
Okay. Um, let's see here. Screens. Go less. I'm actually gonna do better text readability. Well, I'll do smoother video.
Stop
Um,
stream.
okay. So you can see my screen, yeah?
Yes. Perfect.
Fantastic. So, what I've done since last time is the basically continued experimentation with the rail system, the new rail system.
Nice.
In the last session, we kind of looked at the old rail system that I learned how to use, but it was really it perfectly functional, but not the easiest thing to edit, and there was no like visual indication of where the rail was, and so it
Hmm.
became a real chore when I wanted to add things or change things, or
Hmm.
even just
Hmm.
kind of get an idea of like from a design perspective, like, oh yeah, I want the thing to fly over here. Like that was not easy to do. And then the
Hmm.
new system was like, oh, actually, there's this really cool built-in virtual dolly camera thing with Cinemachine. That actually has this like visual track. Like, oh, that's really cool. But the one piece that I hadn't figured out then was like, okay, how do I get the thing to move along this? Like, how do I animate it? And then the animation was kind of complicated. I spent a lot of time playing around with things, and now I'll share with you my findings.
Nice.
So basically, the way this system works, and all I've done here is, there's really nothing else happening in this world. I just put a plane down with a couple of cubes to have stuff to fly around, and then I've
Hmm.
got our player rig here, which is basically our beautiful ship with its amazing butt,
Yay.
and it also includes the targeting reticles, which, oh, by the way, I did some work on those too. Do you remember how one of the last sessions we were talking about like, it's kind of hard to see those because they're like in front of the ship. Maybe
Yes.
I can offset them up. I tried to do that. I tried to move them up to the top of the ship, but then it became really complicated with the way the vanishing points work in order to get the targeting reticles to line up in a way with the ship and with the camera that wasn't like melting my brain trying to
Sure.
like figure out. So I put them back where they were, but what I did was actually, and you can, might need to actually adjust it a little bit more here, but I made them a little bit bigger and also moved them farther away. So you can see like these actually go pretty freaking far away from the ship, and they're actually relative to
Wow.
the size of the ship, they're huge.
Yeah.
But when the game is actually running,
Hmm.
I think I adjusted the camera field of view maybe, which is one of the reasons why that looks that way. Was it 16? I don't remember. But anyway, I had adjusted it to make it big enough that you could actually see this piece kind of encapsulating the fuselage of the ship, and it worked pretty well. And once I get this thing to start like moving around, you'll be able to see what I'm actually. Can I just hit play and move this around right now? I think so. Oh, hold on.
Loading.
It's
Loading.
thinking about it.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah,
it
anyway,
rotates with
so
it. Cool.
yeah, I think this is a lot better. Oh, and you can't hear the audio, right? Because it's full screen or it's
Yeah.
full window.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've kind of refined this. I feel like that's pretty good. I still need to fix it so that way it doesn't, go through the floor when you go down. It needs to like always be on screen.
Hmm.
Um, but after a lot of experimentation with like trying to move it up, and I think this is the way to do it. The only other
Hmm.
thing that I may change is we may actually adjust it so that way you could even see it through the ship. So your own ship wouldn't necessarily block it. I'm not crazy about that because I like the idea that it's in front of you and that it creates
I
this
like
sort
it
of
too. Yeah.
layering
Yeah.
feedback.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I kind of played with it and I feel pretty good about like the way the distance between the two, the size and like the accuracy of
Uh-huh.
the shots.
Uh-huh.
Even when you're at these like really weird angles, because this was the thing that was really hard was getting it to like move into an oblique angle like this and
Yeah.
still have the targeting reticles be pointing in the generally the correct direction.
Right.
Um, and I had to just move them so far away for them to still behave like according to the vanishing point for the lasers in order for it to be an effective target.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Uh-huh.
so I did that. That was kind of like a little side note. The real thing that we're here to talk about though is the rail system. So if I create empty, I'll go ahead and call this rail, and I'm going to add a component over here, Cinemachine Smooth Path, which then creates this little guy down here. And I'm actually going to make that bigger. We'll do a size 2. So I can move this here. And then it's really easy to just add components to this rail where I can just, start adding pieces like this, and I've
That is
got this
cool.
rail system.
Yeah, that
And
is
then I
cool.
can move it over here and add another one. And be like, okay, now I want it to go over that way and add another one. And now I want this one to go up. And maybe
Uh,
I want it to like go maybe boom, bring that one back down. So it'll just do a little hop over this piece here and then come this way.
oh, sorry, Michael. It's super blurry
Blurry?
now. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to switch this to better text readability, but it's gonna be 5 FPS, so you're not gonna see
Okay.
very nice smooth movement.
Wow. Wow. It's like
Um,
so sharp now. Jeez.
yeah. It's
What
just
when if and when you do play through it, switch it back to the smoothness. Because right now you're just setting it up, so it's not that important for us to
okay.
see it smooth. But when you're playing it,
I'm
let's
gonna go to
switch
that
back.
one. Okay, so I've got my rail. Yeah, I'll just leave that like that. And so what I can do is now for my player rig, this has a component called the Cinemachine Dolly Cart, and then all I have to do here is just tell it like, hey, what path do you want it to follow? So I click this and say like, okay, follow the rail path, which is that rail that I just made. So it'll do that. And then what I need to do in order to get it to actually move through the path is it's going to like adjust its position here, so I can grab that and click it, and now ta-da, it's moving along the
That's
rail.
so
And then
cool,
if
dude.
I open the game window and do that again, you'll see like, oh, this is what it's going to look like when it's moving through the game. Now, granted, this is really janky and jerky because I just threw this together really quickly, and there's a lot of sharp turns in there, and
No,
it's
but it
moving through the floor and stuff.
it
But the
proves that
idea
it
that
works.
right, and then I could make a rail system in like what was that, 2 minutes?
Yeah. Holy cow.
The thing that I couldn't figure out how to do though was how to get it to actually play when the game is running. I thought like I need to make an animator and create these animations and I did that and got that to work, but there was like I couldn't figure out how to like control the speed of the thing. So I played around with it a bunch more and basically figured out that there's this component right here on the cart itself where it's the speed, and this is the speed
Oh,
relative to the the position. So there's a couple different position things here that maybe are worth talking about. Each one of these little numbers is like a node, right? So it's like
uh-huh,
a
uh-huh,
waypoint.
uh-huh.
When I click on the player rig, path units is each one of those. So if I'm going to set this to 0 so it's not confusing. When I click on the move position thing, if I move this to the number 1 right there,
Uh-huh.
that's at node number 1. So if I click on this, you'll see like I'm just a little bit past it because I was, past it, but that's where position 1 is. And then if I click position 4, it's going to go here. So watch, if I go to player rig, change this to position 4, it jumps to where the node 4 is. So that's what
Mm,
that number means right there. It's
mm,
that
mm-hmm,
position.
mm-hmm. Nice.
However, you could also do distance. And what that does is it's basically, this rail has a certain distance, and that's the path length right here. So this is 160 units long or whatever. And so then you can move your position based on that. So now, 4 is way back here because it's only 4 units long, whereas the node 4 is over here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then normalized is basically just saying like, if the beginning is 0 and the end is 100%, what position do you want to be in? So then I can
Oh,
go
I
to like,
see.
okay, well, if I want to go, halfway, do
Yeah,
0.5, that's right in the middle of the rail. So that's how that works.
nice.
The thing that's interesting is that depending on which one of these you choose, it affects the speed that you move through the area. So if I choose distance, basically what it's going to do is it's going to, so this path is 160 units long. If I choose speed, like let's say 10, I think, I'm not 100% sure, I think it moves 10 units of rail per second. So now if I hit play, ball goes to play, and yeah, it's just going to move at a constant speed along this rail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to seem like when it's turning, it's moving a little bit faster because of the, obviously a sharper turn, it's going to spin sharper, but it's traveling over that rail at a constant speed. Now, why
Mm-hmm,
is that
mm-hmm.
important? Why am I bringing that up? Because if you change this from instead of traveling position units distance, if you do path units, and if I leave the speed the same, it's going to travel one of those nodes per second. So if I do it now, wow, it flies through to the end because there's only
Whoa.
like how many? Like I only have 8 of these, so like within a couple seconds, it gets all the way to the end. So in order to fix that, what you've got to do is adjust the speed. So if I do like 0.75 and hit play, now it's going at a pace that's a little bit more similar to what we saw before with the when it was moving instead of path units, it was moving distance.
Right.
But between those two, it's a little hard to tell any sort of difference between them. The thing that makes a huge difference is you can actually vary the speed. Oh yeah, sorry. Is the animation looking okay? Should I switch back to smoother?
It was choppy, but I mean, it's readable. It's not like absolutely choppy that I can't see anything that I can't understand. But
Okay.
yeah, feel free to change it over to smooth, just for the hell of it.
Okay. Yeah, let me do that because this next thing that I'm going to show, it's really going to help if you can see the video or see the smooth video. So I'm going to just play
Yeah.
that again so you can kind of see this moving. So this is kind of the pace that it's moving at.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
It's very smooth and it moves at that pace because most of these nodes are about the same distance apart. But if I do something really crazy,
Oh,
like let
it'll
me
like
uh,
warp speed if you
rail, move a couple of these a little bit closer, move it like down here. Actually, we'll do like this, I guess. This might look real wacky because it's also going to go up there. And then I grab this one and drag that way out here. And now I hit play. You're going to see the speed is going to vary because it's
hmm hmm
trying to have a constant speed between nodes. But if the nodes are really far apart, zoom. So you can see like
hmm
how much it speeds up right there at the end.
It's being
So that's cool.
stretched. Yep. Yeah.
That which means depending on how we want to program the game, if we want to, if we're okay with a constant speed, then it's really easy to make rail. Because like if I use the exact same rail that we just looked at, but I switch the player rig back to distance and speed back to 10, you'll notice that we don't get that little boost at the end there. And that's because it's traveling at a constant distance per second as opposed to trying to get between nodes a constant time. So
Mhm.
here in the last one, it zoomed through here, right? But
Mhm.
now it's
Mhm.
just cruising.
Yeah.
So the thing that's going on there is basically that means that when we're making our rail, if we do constant, if we travel by distance, so it's traveling at a constant like velocity, if you will, um, it makes making the rails pretty easy. Like you can just put down a couple of nodes, get these like really nice smooth rails. Like I can add another one here and go like way over here or something. We can add very few nodes to create the rail that we want, and it'll constantly travel at a nice smooth pace. So I can actually even get
Right.
rid of a lot of these things because we don't really need them. Yeah, so this one I've only got these like 4 nodes, but now if I play it, you still get this really nice smooth rail and it's
Mhm.
traveling at a constant speed. So that makes it really easy to make these sort of basic environments. And of course, I can fly around while I'm on this rail and shoot things. Um, oh, and we can add the roll thing too to like pitch the or to like, roll the
Yeah.
camera.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. I
so
saw
that's
there
still
was a little
possible.
option right next to the input.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, so
Get
I
right
think
there.
there's kind of a trade-off between these two systems.
Mhm.
With this
Mhm.
system, with moving at a constant speed, makes the rail really easy to create, and we can add things and change things as we want. The other system is a little bit trickier because you need to be constantly cognizant of like the distance between nodes because that's going to dictate your speed, but it also
Right.
gives you the flexibility where you can say like, actually, I want them to zoom really fast through this part, and
Yeah.
then I want them to slow down at this part.
Are you
Um,
able to switch between the two systems during the game?
I'm pretty let's see, can I do that? Yeah, I bet I could do that. I bet I could code that. Sure.
Oh, oh, oh. Nice.
So, yeah, I think I mean, I need to test that, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I could do that.
Yeah. Nice.
But at the very least, I basically think that we've got a system now where we can start making rails and it's so easy to like create them too. Like if I'm really unhappy with this rail, then it's easy to just be like, screw that rail.
Yeah.
Let me just create a new one.
Yeah.
Call this, rail new. Add that path component, make it too wide, and I'm already back in here making a new rail. And like, okay, here
Right.
we go. Let's make this one go under here and start that over. Grab node 0 and put it over here. And then I can move the whole thing if I want.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's bring it over here. And it's a great visual too because then I can like do this and be like, okay, this is the path
Yeah.
through the level. We could see
Yeah.
like, okay, well, yeah, I want it to go through this thing over here, and then I want it to, I don't know, wrap around the back side over here.
Yeah.
So it kind of does this sort of a thing. Uh, yeah, so this system, well, actually, that's really far up. Whoops. Anyway, the point is that system is amazing, and I think I've basically figured out all the pieces that we need in order for us to move forward.
Yeah. Two things. One, it's blurry again.
Boo.
Boo. But the second thing is, I am so curious now. Michael, I would like to suggest something.
Sure.
Can we go ahead and take scene 5 and I'll update it as best as I can, make it as finished as possible, give it to you, and then you could just play with the system in that space. And then from there
Absolutely.
you can say, all right, within this space, I want our plane to go here, here, here,
Hmm.
here, 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 and this is where this happens. This is where this falls on the mothership. This is where we have to dodge. This, just plan it all out. Kind of like a storyboard, if you, well, not really a
Yeah.
storyboard, but basically just like plan everything out, and then we could test and feel how it looks, and if we're spending too little time in the space, if we're spending too much time in the space, and when should we fly out of the space? It's like I think now that you have this functional tool, we can create the game inside of our scene 5 environment and essentially just work our way back. Do scene 5 first, and then 4, 3, and 2, and then 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, 100%. In fact, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I was going to suggest that. I was going to say, hey,
Ah,
now that I've figured this thing out, if you send me what you got, I can put this rail into that
yeah,
space, and we can
yeah,
start flying the ship around and moving it, and I can even put things in there for us to shoot too.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, please do. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yes, yes. So what comes first? Obviously, I need to do it first. I need to finish, not finish the scene, but get it up to a certain point where we both agree, like, oh, this is the space, right? And then if you feel like, oh, I feel like the roof needs to go higher because I want to do something like higher above the mini boss, then I'll take
Mm,
that and I'll move it higher, and then we'll just we'll be able to design it like the form follows function, right? We'll be able to modify our environment to fit the game that we want, because we don't I don't want to create it. I don't want to box us in, literally box us in, but I want to break us out of the environment so that we can do cool shit.
yeah. The one thing that I would say is don't feel like you should wait until you have something that's more like ready to send to Michael to put the rail in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Send me something now if you can, because
Sure,
I'm
sure.
still learning how to even program the rail.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been
yeah.
learning things like, man, I really need to move these nodes really far apart and use these huge, slow, gentle arcs, because otherwise, if
Right,
it curves too quickly, then the camera spins around and it just looks bad.
right.
Um, so I'm still learning like what I can actually do with the rail and what things are
Hmm.
like, no-nos that you shouldn't be
Hmm.
doing with the rail.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
For example, I'm going to show you some stuff that I started playing with. I'm going to leave currently I'm streaming to you in better text readability, so it's like the low frame rate version.
Uh-huh.
Um, but if you want me to switch to the smoother video, let me know. But
Okay.
I think we'll hopefully be okay because this is a lot more experimental stuff. But basically, yeah, sure, safe. What I did was I created a
Oh, cool.
basically, yeah, went back to start working on like the scene one, and I created a couple of different rails to try things. This is the other thing that's really neat is like I've got 3 different rail systems here that I use to like try different
Oh,
routes through the
sweet.
environment,
Look at
and
that,
it's so
guys.
easy because all I have to do is click this and then choose which one of the rails I want the ship to follow. So
Yeah.
the very first one that I did, I'll go ahead and hit. Well, yeah, I'm gonna hit play. You tell me if this looks okay or if it's too choppy. I'll switch to the smoother. What do you think?
Uh,
Too choppy?
I mean, it's choppy. It's readable. Fuck it.
Well, oh,
Go to the smooth one. Go to the smooth one.
okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to
And one
see a
sec, I'm
smooth.
gonna mute this.
Michael, we might
I
have to
wish you could.
rethink about Discord thing. It's the
I
reason why
know.
we switched to Discord was because it was, streamed better on your end, but now it's giving both of us trouble.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
these like the streaming quality of Zoom isn't like the quality is better, but the frame rate is worse.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyway,
Oh, you got a black hole going on there.
yeah.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, basically all I did in here was I just started throwing random stuff that I had from that
Uh-huh.
sci-fi space bundle that I got,
Yeah.
just to see like what it looks like when the ship is moving through there. So like when the ship is moving through this first area here, these are just, random asteroids. Right here, there's a little effect that you can barely see probably of these like little dust particles, to give you a sense that you're actually moving. I created this like
Uh-huh.
or added this like warp thing here. Those little dust particles were crazy subtle. Like I don't think you'd be able to see them without the better text readability thing.
I mean, I see
But it,
flares. I'm not like dust
y-
particles.
yeah, well, the dust particles, when you actually like, if you were to actually play the game, you would see them, and they'd be adding like a little bit of
Uh-huh.
texture to like the
Uh-huh.
stuff they're moving through.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But there you kind of can't really see it. But then another thing I tried to do too is I wanted to experiment with the player kind of like flying around the ship,
Yeah.
um, to kind of give this sense that kind of going back to that Revenge of the Sith thing where you're
Yeah.
like you're
Uh-huh.
a tiny little ship flying around this big battle cruiser thing.
Right.
And there's some interesting learnings there where I feel like it's really hard to get a sense of the scale of the ship when you're flying alongside it this close. I thought it was going to be super cool, but and some aspects of it are, I guess, like maybe if you were moving. Well, I don't know.
I
I'm still trying to
disagree.
figure it
I
out, but
disagree.
you
I
think it's
like
cool?
it. I love it. I fucking love it. I think it's cool.
Cool. Okay, great. Then I'm
Sorry to
glad I'm sharing
disagree,
this.
but it,
No,
it's
no, no.
it's
That's
it's
fantastic.
it's cool flying next to the ships. I mean, again, one of my favorite TV shows is Battlestar Galactica, and in many episodes they would fly alongside the ships, and you could see how freaking massive the ship is compared to the Viper planes, right?
Totally.
So I love what you're doing right here. It's really cool.
Okay. Well, awesome. Then yeah, I can keep
Yeah, please
trucking
keep
along
it.
with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because what I was trying to do is like really give you a sense of scale, but also feel like it's this big entity in this space with you. And it'd probably be really cool once we start getting some drones and stuff flying around there
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
shooting along the way.
Yeah.
Um, but I've been experimenting. So like another thing that I did, I'll kind of like let this. I think we're almost at the end of the rail for this one, and then I'll show you the final rail. I tried some other things with the other rail where you were kind of instead of flying like parallel to the ship, you're actually flying um, more like broadside with it. Like it was at a little bit more of an angle, and you're kind of like flying directly at it to see if like, oh, maybe that'll give you a sense of like, oh wow, cool, look at
Oh,
this thing.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe there's like a combination of those two things where you get
Mhm.
both of them, and so that way you get the sense of like, whoa, cool, big thing in front of me, and I get a really good look at it. And oh, cool, now I'm flying right next to it, and maybe this is where it would be helpful to have the path that can accelerate or have variable acceleration,
Mhm.
so then you
Mhm.
can move kind of quickly. Um, but yeah,
I love
anyway,
this.
so yeah, this and it was amazingly easy to start putting this together with the new rail system. Like the
That is
old one,
awesome.
this would have been a huge pain in the ass.
Sure, sure,
Um,
sure, sure.
but
For
yeah,
for the
this.
for the next one that you do, can you include a barrel roll so that I can see? I like
Oh,
barrel
sure.
rolls.
Well, shit, I could
Uh,
just do that right now, man.
oh, sweet. Just any
At
point.
least I
I
think I
I
can.
don't care.
Like, let's do here. Let's do it as we're going towards the ship, I guess.
As
Uh,
you do that, I'm gonna read Captain Boo Boo's things. Captain Boo Boo says, "Looks so sharp, might cut myself on it." Oh, I think is he's saying like when you actually made it into the readability. Oh, cool. All right, did you do it? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, that is so cool. I love it. I
yeah, I think
love
it's
it.
gonna flip back again, but yeah,
Oh,
because I think
sweet.
what we can do is just rotate the rail, and then you just have it go inverted,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
you rotate it back to get it to flip back around. But yeah, that's how easy the new rail system is. It's like
That
you want
is
a barrel roll, here you go, no problem.
awesome. That's great, man. Good job, Michael. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Captain Boo Boo says this will make things so smooth, but how will this system work for looping unfinished parts of the level? How will this?
Yes.
Oh, go
So
ahead.
I've thought about that.
Uh-huh.
I think the way that's going to work is because you can see here that I've got three different rails, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, Imagine one of these rails. Actually, I guess I could just make another one here. Um,
Well,
Rail number
I'm sorry, Michael. Can
3.
you explain his question? Because I'm not understanding the question.
Sure.
How
He's
will
basically
this?
saying like, um, so imagine in this level that we can't complete this level until you've destroyed all of the enemies that are around the mothership. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and so the first part, maybe there's a rail that's gonna kind of follow this path right here. where you're
Uh-huh.
just flying through the asteroid field, you kill a couple of things, and then the rail after that does something like this, where it's flying around the ship.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think what we can do is if I go here, so that before I go into that, let me finish explaining what he's asking about. So the idea is basically that you've got a rail that has point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also a circumstance where you can, where then the next rail is point B to point C. But
Mm-hmm.
point C kind of loops back around to where B is. So they're like right next to each other. And you will not be able to continue from point C to point D until you've killed all the enemies. So if you
Oh, got it.
like loop around the ship and there's still enemies,
Mm.
instead of
Mm.
going to continue on the path, you do that
Uh-huh.
loop again. And then you
Uh-huh.
just keep
Uh-huh.
doing that until you've killed everything. And then once you
Got it.
have, then you can pass through. So the way I think I can make that work is if
Good
I've
question.
got,
I didn't
I'm
even
gonna,
think about that.
yeah, very good question. I'm gonna make this really big so we can see it. If I've got this guy here, can I guess I gotta zoom in a little bit. I got this guy here, whoops. Oh, I see, I've got to click this and move the camera in order to grab that thing. There we go. Da, da, da. This one over here. And this is going to be real janky, but it will, I think, explain the idea. At least if you were like holding a gun to my head right now and saying like, you need to figure out how to make a looping system, this is what I would try to do.
Sure.
So I would get this, bring these two pieces like this, and maybe we would like start the player here, and then once they finished this, then we would have them jump to this rail.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is I'd program the game in such a way that it would be keeping track of all of the enemies that were here, and it would have a flag that would be set to false. And it stays false until all the enemies are dead. And
Oh,
when it
okay.
gets to the end of this track, when it gets to point 4, it would look to see if because one of the things that you can do with the rig is you can actually set actually maybe it's on the rail. Oh yeah, the rail is you can set it to be looped. It would basically say like on the rig, what rail should I be using? It would stay on the looped rail until all the enemies were killed. Then that flag would switch to true, and then when it got to the end of this, there would be that check, and it would switch the player from rail 2 onto rail 4 or whatever the next
Interesting.
one is
Cool.
to continue.
Got it.
I
Nice.
think I can make that work.
Nice.
If not, though, I mean, I think there's plenty of ways for us to program the game and make it really fun without any sort of looping system,
Mm-hmm.
where it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, hey, you only get 3 passes through here to be able to kill everything, and if you don't, well, then your score is penalized, or you get, only 92% completion of the level. If you really want to get 100%, you got to do it on those first 3 passes,
Right.
because it could potentially be a little bit lame if you're just like circling
Yeah. Right.
infinitely and the game just keeps running forever. Um, but anyway, those are that's like coding and design polish that we can do later if we
Later.
feel like
Sure.
we
Right.
really need this to make the game work. I think even
Cool.
without that, we can still make a really cool, really fun game.
Nice.
Um, so anyway, yeah,
Nice.
that's basically it. That's my update.
Oh, and now it's blurry again. Damn it, son of a poop.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, fortunately, I'm
Yeah.
that does it.
Uh,
Unless you have questions, then I can jump back in there and show you some more stuff if you
I
want to
do
see
have
anything.
questions, but you can it's theoretical questions. So I mean not
Okay.
theoretical questions. Before I ask it though, Captain Booba says now I want to see cosmic things like other fighters attacking drones. Oh, did you share something, Michael?
Oh yeah. I'm just
Oh, perfect.
sharing this at
Awesome.
better text readability in case there's
Yeah, it looks
anything,
great.
just so there's something interesting to look at, really.
Yeah, yeah. Let me read Captain Blue's thing again. Now I want to see cosmic things like other fighters attacking drones, an
Hell
intro
yeah.
cinematic of a squadron scrambled to protect humanity's interests, intercepts in deep space. The hero gets cut off from the comrades. Oh no! But opportunity presents itself during a disaster. The hero fights and barely makes it. They get into drones areas of the main operation. Does this Does this hero have what it takes to tell a tale, or was it a selfless one-way ticket? That is up to the player. Nice, man.
Yeah, got a whole series, a whole television series there for you.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Great job. Like, yeah,
yeah,
narratively, that would be amazing if we can hit all of those beats.
yeah.
We will do
Thanks,
our best.
Captain. That is great. Oh, so one question that I want to ask you, Michael, is and obviously I could do my own research, but based off of your knowledge right now, does Unity have the capability of does it have a particle system where it can more or less take one object and make multiples of that object, kind of like what I did in Blender? I mean, essentially that particle system that I showed you in Blender, does Unity
Mm.
have the same thing?
The only thing that I'm familiar with that Unity has is the like tree brush for the terrain thing, where you can basically give it an inventory of like, here's all these different models, and then I'm gonna
Sure,
paint them.
sure.
And that works-ish, but it's really buggy.
Okay,
I would not recommend using
okay.
that.
All right. Uh, the only reason why I'm asking that is because I was, I do a lot of my thinking when I'm taking a shower for some odd reason. Uh, that if and when I design a space using Blender and I use the particle effects modifier like the way that I showed you, creating the cityscape using, a few buildings. Um, if I do that in Blender, if we get it to a certain place we like it, then I would have to export it. My fear is that it
Mm,
won't export as a particle. It'll export as like chunks and chunks and chunks of geometry, right? Individual
right.
geometry. So that's not the way to do it. So that's why I'm asking like if Unity has that, particle system like the way I do it in Blender, then I should just create the building and then create the city using those buildings in Unity.
Oh, well, I guess at this point, which is cool, it's cool that we're at this point. We can maybe start doing some experiments. Um, the first maybe being like, why don't we just try to see like if you make the model in Blender using that particle trick, and then just export that whole thing, and we bring it into Unity. Let's see if it's a total nightmare and breaks things, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh Jesus, yeah, this isn't gonna work, or maybe it's fine. Because kind of like we were learning earlier, that it's really the text text maps that
Yeah,
are
the
really weighing things down as
heavy.
opposed to
Right, right, right.
um, vertices and polygons. So,
Yeah, let's try it. Try it.
and then
Yep.
if if that's a if if that's a failure, then we'll start researching ways to work around that and try to
Yeah,
come up with a solution. But I think before we start trying to come up with solutions, let's make sure that there's a problem.
right. And Captain Blue Blue says Unity has a mesh particle emitter if that's what you want. Oh, I think that might
A
be my
mesh
answer.
particle emitter. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm happy to look into that. Let
Okay,
me make a note for myself.
mesh. Thank you, Captain Blue
Actually, I
Blue.
guess I can't while I'm sharing screen. A mesh particle emitter. Okay, yeah, I'll look into that and see if that's what that does.
Cool, cool,
I
cool, cool.
know at least my limited understanding of what the particle system in Unity does so far is like, at least with the mission, is it actually is like projecting things. That's how the ship's lasers work. That's a
Right,
particle system that
right.
is emitting, those like bolts,
Mm-hmm,
those
mm-hmm.
like yellow bolts that you're seeing on screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, this is gonna make me throw
That's
up.
this
Oh
is so
God.
cool. I freaking love it.
Yeah, I might need to make those rolls a little slower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a little intense, but pretty awesome that we can do it, and then it's
That's
that
so
quick and
cool.
easy.
That's awesome. Good job, Michael. Seriously, man.
Thank you.
That's great. Ah, love it. And thank you again, Captain Boo Boo. Your insights and your advice is always so good, man.
Yeah, it's
Really,
very, very helpful.
yeah. So glad you're a part of this journey.
Wow, those go really far into the distance.
It'll just hit some other planet somewhere,
Yeah,
sometime in the
exactly.
future.
Man, some
Like,
asshole out in space is just firing into the void.
yeah, I know. That's cool.
Yep. Anywho, that's
Awesome.
all I got.
That's great, man. That is awesome. Um, cool. What else? What else? What else? Close stream. Yeah, great job today, Michael. Thank you
You
for
too.
showing that rail system, man. That really totally works. So I guess homework. Um, I will continue to make scene five a little bit sexier, better, and yeah, just make it nicer looking based off of our comments today, and also export that as a FBX so that you have an environment to play around with, um, to essentially create our game, to create the story of the game and just the fly through and whatnot.
Sure.
Obviously, I don't expect to give it to you until Sunday, and so therefore you can't do anything with that until Sunday. So the earliest thing, if you do anything at all with it, is probably next Wednesday. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I have to give it to you, and then you'll work on it. And then if Wednesday is not enough time, we'll take a look at it next Sunday, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my goal. That's my homework.
Um, yeah, yep, that sounds great. For me,
Nice.
I will look into the mesh particle emitter and continue to do these sort of like experiments with getting a feel for how to use the rail and like what feels
Hmm.
good and like what the appropriate speed is. And then I can also continue to tinker with the first level where you're kind of like arriving in the asteroid field and then you're under attack. And see
Yeah.
if I can start putting that together now that I actually have the rail system that is a joy to use and not a big pain in the ass that I was dreading
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah. But that's cool. That's awesome, man. Um, very exciting. It's finally coming together. That is so cool.
Yeah. Oh, and I
So,
get, well,
oh, go ahead.
maybe we cross this bridge on Sunday because I think the homework that we both have right now is plenty. But with regard to the like experimentation with like now let's actually because we've kind of been working independently for the most part with a
Mhm.
little bit of overlap where like the ship models and the drone models you've given me FBX files for that I brought into Unity, but now we can actually start maybe talking about some experiments to like link those things up and like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna export this model, see like what happens when you bring it into Unity, and like, oh, okay,
Right.
this happened. And then I guess the other thing too I would ask you is, would you have any interest in doing some of your work, and not necessarily doing work in Unity, but like having a Unity like being able to open the Unity document on your computer and like use the rail system in there and
Yeah.
actually fly the ship around it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Um, uh,
Then
the 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 real answer is no, I don't want to, but the necessary answer is yes, I have to. So yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay. Give me some time to make sure that I figure that out because I think probably the smartest way to do that is also a relatively complicated way, at least from a
sure.
beginner's perspective.
Right.
For like people who are experts, like it's like, oh yeah, it's not that hard. But the answer being, I think we should probably use GitHub, which is basically it's this online platform where you can save like backup files and versions of your code, of your
Hmm.
source
Hmm.
code. Then it could be really easy for us to be working, or especially for like me to be working on on the game, and then I can push. They call them commits, which they're basically just like completed versions of the code
Hmm.
to GitHub, and then on your end you could just like download the latest version, and so then
Hmm.
you'd have it on your computer and you can open that up and do stuff with it. Um, that way it would be, I think, a lot easier than trying to manage our files, personally. Like, oh, I uploaded the new one and exported the thing. We could just have this one place where it kind of it automates some of that. But like I said, it's a little tricky because it's this new thing you got to learn.
Sure.
But I've got an online course for that, so I'm going to take that. But it
Awesome.
might take me a little while to actually
Mhm, mhm.
get up to speed.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Uh,
so
and until then, we'll just do it the hard way. I mean, whatever the hard
sure.
way it is, just like, just download the whole damn model and make a copy of it so
Hmm.
that we don't frack up the
Yeah.
original. So we'll figure out a way as we truck along with it. Um, yeah. Anything else, Michael? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
Nope, I don't think so.
Oh,
That's all I have.
I do have one comment. I don't know if it's well, it's good. I'll just let you know. Um, Yesterday I downloaded a build of the game of Unity game.
Yes.
It runs super smooth.
Okay.
I love it. It feels great. The only thing that I notice is that I don't know if on your end when you play it, like when I press the A key and the D key, um, when it
It
changes,
snaps.
it snaps. Does that
Hmm.
happen to you?
Yep. And I
Okay.
don't know why. I don't know how to fix that, but that is
Okay.
like a bug that I'm aware of.
Okay. That was the only thing that really caught my attention when I was flying. 'Cause
Yeah.
anything else like going up and down, if I'm going
Hmm.
in this direction, it feels good. But once I snap to the other side, it
Hmm.
does that thing and it doesn't feel like natural.
Yeah, because if you're like angling this way and you let go of that key and it does this and then you press the other one, then it's
Mm,
fine. But
mhm,
if you
mhm.
like immediately press the other one, yeah,
Boop.
then it does this
Yeah.
like weird snap thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why it does that.
Yeah.
That's gonna that's on my list of like, figure this out someday.
Sure,
But I
sure.
haven't gotten to it yet.
Sure. And another feedback that I have is I find it, and this is just me. This is it just feels is just my bias, my feelings towards it. When I'm playing the rail shooter using the WASD keys, it felt unnatural for some odd reason.
Interesting. Okay.
For so, like
Like maybe moving with the mouse would be better?
yes, yes, I was actually thinking about that because I felt so strange holding the mouse, pressing the button, the
Mm-hmm.
fire button, but I wasn't doing anything with the mouse at all. Um, and
Interesting.
using the WASD key, it felt a little bit like it felt disconnected. It felt disconnected.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking like, yeah, like you said, if it was the mouse, maybe that mouse would feel more like a joy, like when a pilot, you know how a
Hmm.
pilot holds their, their joystick. I don't know what the
Yeah,
pilot's
it's called
what
joystick
joystick. Um, in
or
the same
control
way,
stick.
like control stick, our mouse would be that control stick to go up, left, right, down. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass. It might be totally crazy, but I just felt when I was using the WASD keys, um, it 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 didn't feel smooth, I guess. I don't know.
Um, yeah, I know what you mean. It's a little more so to I guess a couple of things to say about that. One, I don't currently know how to do it, but I can very quickly, like within the next couple weeks, figure it out. It because
Sure, sure,
I
sure.
know it's coming up in my tutorials.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
To switch from WASD to mouse input. However, there would be a design problem there because the expectation when you're like moving the mouse is that it's one to one. So if I'm controlling the cursor, I move my mouse real fast, I want it to snap over there as fast as I'm moving that thing. Because you imagine like when you're playing Overwatch and you're moving the mouse, your guy is like spinning around real quick, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That could potentially cause the ship to like jump, if you're
I
moving the
see what you're
mouse
saying.
really fast to these
I
different
see what you're
places.
saying. Yeah.
Whereas with the WASD keys, it's like, oh, I want to start moving in that direction. Okay, let's turn that way and go over here. Like, I want to go that way. Okay, let's go over that way. You could kind of do that with the mouse if we separated the mouse from the ship, because then maybe you could like, if this is your ship and this is your cursor, you could like move that over there, and then the ship goes, woo, and then you go like, and then it kind of does this sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Um, which could be cool. I mean,
I
that might.
I
I mean, I'm perfectly happy to get to a point where we can maybe start. experimenting with like different control inputs and see like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that one actually feels like a lot of fun.
Right, right, right.
And then the final thing that I'll say is I think one of the reasons it feels kind of weird is because this setup, like this control scheme, largely is inheriting from Star Fox, which was designed for use with a controller, which
Uh-huh.
feels way more
Way better.
intuitive when you're using the
Sure.
joystick to like
Joystick.
move the ship.
Right.
So noted, that's very good feedback. Let's keep looking at that, and
Yeah.
I'll get to a point where maybe we can. I'll open a new, not necessarily a new file, but maybe like a new scene,
Scene.
and
Right.
do some like experiments, like some control
Right.
experiments, and then I'll send those to you, and you can play with them and see what you like. But that's great feedback, and I'm glad we're getting that now because that is important because
I want
that's a
Richard to give
design.
you I want Richard to give you feedback as well, to see how he feels as well, because
Sure.
that's just coming from me. And Captain Blue Blue says, I think I have an explanation with the WASD disconnect and its jerkiness. Well,
Ooh, yes, please.
yeah, please explain. As you're typing, we will keep talking. But yeah, Michael, thank you again for sharing that build for me. Again, that 2K was like, I, c- I asked you to, give me a screen version so that I could scale it down if I needed to, but I couldn't scale
Mm,
it down. It was just like,
yep, I
it was
noticed that.
boom. I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
geez. And then 2K was like taking up four monitors. I was like, holy crap.
Oh God.
I did not want to open up the 4K. 4K would have been like,
You wouldn't have
like
been able to close the file. It's like,
exactly. Oh my God.
X
It's
is
so,
like off screen. I
yeah,
need like
yeah, yeah.
4 monitors to be able to close this file.
Yeah, but it was the game ran extremely smooth, very dynamic. It was really really nice. So and I cannot wait for it to play it in the environment that we create. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
good job with your expertise in Unity. I mean, you started not so long ago. Now it's getting much better. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, I was trying to because this comes up quite a bit in our discussions, and I can never remember exactly when we started. I'm pretty sure I started in February of this year.
Mhm.
Um, because kind of trying to look back, like that was when. Do you remember that like that one tutorial that you found that was like much cheaper on Udemy? You're like, oh,
Oh yeah,
don't pay the full.
yeah.
And that one was kind of like, this wasn't really that helpful for either of us
Right.
because that was like right near the beginning of when I was starting to use Unity, and that was like February, late February. So I think it's only been since February. It's like February, March, April, May. It's only been 4
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
I've never used Unity before, so that's pretty cool.
That's pretty damn good. Captain Blue says the input in an engine like Unity and Unreal Engine are on vertical and horizontal axes. These works by a float range between -1 and 0 and 1 and 0. The input by a mouse and a stick on a controller are analog and it gives a float input. It gives a float as input. Keys are non-analog, they will give either -1, 0, or
Mm,
1, therefore less steps in the range. Oh,
yep,
okay.
that makes perfect sense.
That makes sense. Okay, okay.
Yep, that is a very useful breadcrumb for me to start hunting down that problem because now I know like where to start looking. What like I don't completely know how to solve that, but that actually helps a lot. So thank you.
Thank you, Cap. Really appreciate that. Yeah, he's full of knowledge,
He's
man.
on it. He's
That's
right
that's
there,
that's freaking
helping
awesome,
all
dude.
along this way.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so Oh, we got our homework. Gave you that feedback, but yeah, I want to definitely hear what Richard has to say and feel about it too. But yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. It looks like we don't really have much of artwork in the gallery for us to share this week. But if you guys have any artwork to share next week, feel free to post it so that we can, take a look at your amazing artwork, you guys, or songs or woodwork or stories. Michael here is an amazing storyteller, so he knows how to write books. So please hit him up, man. Share your story so that we can also enjoy it as well. Buh, 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 buh. Okay. Right. So really quickly, Michael, I want to share
Oh
with
yeah,
you
tarot cards.
the tarot cards, and I apologize. I don't know why this camera right here is like it keeps focusing and
Yeah.
refocusing and focus. I'm just like going crazy. I might change out the iPad, but anyways, here it is,
Ooh, wow,
and
cool.
obviously it's flippity flipped. I apologize, but it comes in this little Lux box, and I think I showed
Oh,
you the
neat.
file before, right, Michael?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
The sort of like
So
placeholder thing. Ooh,
yeah.
cool.
Oh, sorry.
Man, that's a
It's
really
again
nice
it's
looking
flipped.
back panel.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
on
then yeah.
Discord it's not flipped.
Oh, nice. Okay, good,
Interesting.
good.
So for me, yeah, I'm reading
Um,
it
all right.
correctly.
So this is the box,
That mirror.
and it opens up like that, and
Oh,
then when you open it
nice.
up, it looks like
Oh, wow,
this.
cool.
So yeah, this is exactly how I wanted it. I wanted the sides to match the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pull the cover off, the sides is still
Sure.
kind of purpley, and then when you bring it out, it looks like this. So yeah, chat. This is the first time
Yeah.
Michael is actually looking at it, and so when you look at this,
Cool.
and it comes in a little
Wow.
plastic sleeve. I got to take that plastic sleeve off, and then so I never realized 78 cards is actually
I know. I was just,
it's a
yeah,
lot of
thinking the same
cards,
thing,
man.
like seeing
And
it physically printed out in your hand,
oh
like
shit.
that is a huge stack of work.
Yeah, and basically
Wow, these look so good.
it's all done, it's all printed, and I'm gonna go super fast
Dude,
because they're just I mean this
there's
is
so
one of my
many.
favorite one right
Yeah, the
here.
Hanged Man.
I apologize if it's like super blurry. Um the devil,
Oh,
the
these are so
devil.
awesome.
But yeah, I'm just gonna go quick. Yeah, 78 pieces, guys. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, how many
Finally they're
months in the
done.
making was this? Like
6 months,
6+?
6-ish months to complete. But they're finally done. It's a testament as to what you can do, you know, day by do one a day and not give up your goal. Even though sometimes it feels like, oh man, when is this gonna end? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, eh, but you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it until you finally finish your what you want to do. And this applies to every little thing in life, much like these cars, much like playing piano, much like, with our video game. There are some days where I'm like, man, Michael, I don't know how long is it gonna take, or how much um, time I'm gonna be spending on this, and can I even do it, but you just take it day by day, and sooner or later we'll get to where we want to go, right? So yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
yeah. So and then you just close it. Boop. Yay.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so I've already well the last thing is for me to take photos of these guys and take videos like
Mm.
to show like
Mm-hmm.
the Kickstarter people like, oh, this is
Oh
what it
yeah.
is. But everything is all kind of set. I just need to take the video and the photos and then put it on there and wait for this current Kickstarter to finish, and then I am all good. Yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So very,
Man,
very
I'm
happy.
excited for you.
Yeah, me too, man. Captain Blue says, oh, card hype. Yeah, they look great. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Captain Blue. Captain Blue also designed some cards, tarot cards as well. So it's really, really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, Gentleman Heavy. Hey, man. Neat. They look very nice. Thank you so much, dude. You also said I studied this in unis, so I sit on some things. Oh, got it. So Captain Blue knows some stuff that he went to school for all the
Cool.
Unity stuff too. So that's freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
that's great.
Again, you guys, thank you
Glad to
guys
have you
so
here.
much, yeah, for being here. We're bringing you along for the journey, but at the same time, we're you guys are helping us on our journey as well. Hopefully we can give you guys what you guys are giving us one day, right? So yeah, I don't have Q&A. Do you guys have any questions for us? Let us know if you guys have any questions for us. And Michael will just chat really quick about stuff.
Sure.
Um, 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 um.
There was one question we didn't get to last time that I dread answering, but it was like, I think it was, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Right? Remember?
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I think that question was by Gentleman Heavy too, if
Oh,
I
well, there
remember
you go.
correctly.
Good
There
memory.
you go. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Glad to be part of the dream. Okay, so Strength and weaknesses. One of my weaknesses, I think Michael and I share, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, is that we tend to distracted is not the right word, but we tend to get super inspired and trail off to the next shiny thing when we haven't finished the initial thing. Um, but my strength is also the fact that when I start something, I have to finish it or else I won't get a good night's sleep. So for example, that's one of the reasons why I was able to finish up my cards is because I cannot have that hanging over me. I have to finish it, even though it's like, oh man, I have this new idea to design a new pin set, but in the back of my head, it's like, no, 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 Chris, you still have to finish all those cards. You got to finish what you started, and then so that in itself, I think it's a strength, but it's also kind of a freaking annoying attribute in the back of my head saying like you got to finish it before you can start something else. So yeah, that's definitely one of my that's my strength and weakness is that I get an idea, I'm like, oh, that's an awesome idea, and start doing that, and then like, oh, wait, I got to step back, because I got to be an adult, I got to be responsible, I can't just start something and then not finish it. So that's me. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, that's a good answer. And the way you answered it kind of has me thinking because that question, well, a perfectly valid question, and usually, it can come up in job interviews and things like that. Um, it's interesting because most of the time when I answer it, it would be something similar where I would actually instead kind of talk about a quirk that can be good, can be bad. Like one of the typical ones is like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. It's like, yeah, sure, that means that you get caught up trying to do one thing and you are so committed to investing resources and time and energy into making that thing great. But also, you're committed to investing time and resources into making this thing great. That could be a wonderful thing.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I guess I think it's maybe appropriate to respond to that question with something that because human beings are complex and one person's strength is another person's weakness, or one person's strength is that same person's weakness from a different angle. So really, maybe it's more about just sort of these sort of quirks that have these two sides to them, like two sides to the coin. And I think for me, the first one that popped into my head is um, the this sort of one man army attitude that I have about a lot of things, which is I need to be able to do this myself. I can't rely on anybody else. And there's good and bad with that. The good is that usually means that has crafted me into a person who's really good at learning shit and figuring out things. And so one of the comments that I get back from a lot of people is like, "Man, you know so much stuff. How do you know about all this stuff? You've got all multiple talents. You're a jack of all trades. You do all these different things." And that's why is because I feel well, I can't rely on anybody else. I need to be able to do it all myself. The problem is that really limits my scope of ambition. The things that I can actually get done become really tiny if I'm not willing to work with other people, which is one of the reasons why it's been so cool to do this project with you is because I'm breaking through that barrier of I can't do it all alone. I need to enlist the help of other people that I can trust and who are talented and have all these skills that I don't have. But it's hard, and I think that's
Yeah.
hard for a lot of people to delegate and to give up control. Um, so yeah, that's my quirk that I think has positives that have worked in my benefit, but also hold me back sometimes too.
Hmm. There's a book that I read by John C. Maxwell. He is a kind of a inspirational leader, a guy who basically teaches everything on leadership. Is that there's only so much you can do. I think he does a chart like from one to 10 going this way. This is your abilities, and then from 1 to 10 vertically is your leadership and your willingness to work with others and delegating responsibility. From going going to 10 is super hard. Like there's like what is it? there's forces, not forces. What am I supposed to say? The amount of effort it takes from you to go from 0 to 10, it's hard. Um, how am I'm kind of butchering it. You can only go so far by yourself, but if you can go up a level, that effectiveness, the area in the chart becomes a lot bigger as you go vertically. Because
Mm,
we ourselves, we always try to do everything by ourselves, going from 0 to 10, right? But it only covers maybe this area right here, a portion
mm,
of this chart. But once you start going upwards and working with others and delegating and and developing like leadership skills, trusting others, then your effectiveness goes up like a lot, right? And so you want it to go up vertically so that it's actually a lot easier to grow and be more effective than just spend all your time and energy going from 0 to 10 by yourself. Going up, he said something about there's something about diminish and return, that
mhm.
principle, like going from 0 to 10, it takes a lot of energy. I'm totally butchering, I apologize, but yeah, it essentially is just working with others, delegating, having leadership that just boosts your effectiveness, and your contribution to society, a lot more than just working by yourself. So
Totally.
so yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's a really good analogy.
yeah, and just working with you also, Michael, is like, again, it's been a lot of fun. Even though we're not working side by side, as in like physically, like in the next cubicle, I felt like that we've created something so awesome, even though we live like hundreds of miles away from each other, and it still
Yeah.
works, right? So that's really cool, and I totally appreciate it. But yes, that's a really good question, gentleman Heavy. Really, really appreciate it. He also says, "Oh, shiny," but wait, what about the other previous five shiny things I'm working on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Welcome to the
Uh,
club, buddy.
yeah, I know, man. Captain Blue Blue says, "Do you put mustard on your hot dogs?" Uh, I will put any free condiments on my hot dogs, if it's available. Cause I'm one of those people like, oh, there's ketchup. Oh, there's relish. If there's mustard, I'll put it on. If there's like little chopped up onions, I put it on there, and then I just like yum yum yum, just eat it all. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Michael, how about you?
Well, so I've been vegan for more than a decade, so it's been a long time since I had a hot dog. But back when I ate hot dogs, yes, lots of mustard, and sometimes mustard only, just mustard dogs. And I still really love mustard, and so when I have, like the vegan version of a hot dog, yeah, I'll do mustard. And
Nice.
then I also really like caramelized onions on
Ooh, yeah,
yeah,
that's
those are
really good.
so yeah, big fan of
Yeah,
mustard.
yeah.
How about you, Captain Blue Blue? Like, do you ask because you're a mustard fan, or are you, uh, a mustard villain? Or do you not like mustard? I know that it's hard swings for some people on that one.
Yep, yep. Let me see. Gentleman Heavy says the resistance to go on alone is higher, but to trust and be able to rely on others is the path of less potential resistance, and it has a higher payout in the end. Yep, that's very true. Yep.
Yeah, but that's tough. Like it's really hard. Trust is
Yeah,
difficult.
it
I
really,
mean,
really
even
is.
even if you're doing something solo, trusting yourself and the world enough to like make yourself vulnerable and like put your thing out there, oof, that's hard.
Absolutely. Captain Blue Blue asked, Michael, have you read Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton?
Crichton. Hmm.
Crichton. And what are your thoughts on how he depicted Norse culture, Scandinavian here? Oh, he's Scandinavian. Yep.
I have Eaters of the Dead, but I have not read it yet. As of just like this past week, I've completed my Michael Crichton collection. I have every book that he's written, but I've only read probably half or less than half of them. but I haven't gotten around to Eaters of the Dead. So once I do, I'll definitely post a video and let you know my thoughts. But without any spoilers, if you've got any thoughts, I'd love to see them.
And he says, I usually don't unless it is sweet mustard. Is there a
Ooh,
difference
yeah,
between
like a
mustard?
honey
Like,
mustard.
oh yeah,
'Cause, yeah,
yeah,
you've got like Dijon mustard is kind of like
yeah.
spicy. It's got
Hmm.
like horseradish in there,
Hmm.
which is really good too. It cleans out your sinuses. But yeah,
Oh, I
honey
love it.
mustard is,
Honey mustard's really
man,
good too.
especially with like honey mustard flavored things. Like there was this potato chip that was honey mustard flavored
Oh
that, man, I
God,
was addicted to. I'm sure that took like a couple of years off my life with as many of those as I ate, but yeah,
sure.
that's good flavor, sweet mustard.
Nice, nice, nice. Um, that's great. And Gentleman Having says, adding Eaters of the Dead to the reading list as well. Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Heavy, did you this last weekend, did you get a chance to hang out with your friends, play some Warhammer? And by the way, we showed your photos of the Warhammer that you posted from last week, so it was really cool. Thank you again so much for posting that. I was
Yeah, those models were awesome.
yeah, I was telling Michael, it was like when I found out you actually were a 3D modeler, printing and also painting. I he and I kind of geeked out. I was like, oh my God, you did that too. I do that too. This is so cool. You know, I have another Elegoo Mars buddy, and then we started looking at all the various Elegoo printers out there, and I made him a promise that if the Lead Design Studio channel, ever made it huge, super big, that I would buy myself and him what the hell is it? Elegoo's Jupiter. Jupiter right now is like a fucking massive, huge. It's like gigantic printer that like prints really large scale um
Oh my
pieces.
God.
Cause right now, for example, like Mars, the one that he and I have, it's like it's basic. You could only print something about this tall, maybe
Mm,
like I don't know, a foot tall because of the height of the mechanism.
hmm.
So in order to print anything big, you have to print like the arm, the torso, the head, and then connect it all together, you know? But if you had the fucking Elegoo Jupiter, then you could just print as one humongous piece. So yeah, we were just kind of like geeking out about that.
Cool.
Heavy says, I also just finished a costume for a convention I'm going to on the third
Ooh.
on three on the 3.5. I'm so hyped. That is cool. I don't know what 3.5 is on the 3.5. Please explain what that is. But I understand it's a convention, so that is awesome. Uh, yeah, please, for the next show, please go ahead. Oh, 3rd to 5th of June. Oh, that's cool.
Ah, yep,
So
makes sense.
yes, whenever you're ready, please post some photos so that we could take a look at your
Hell yeah.
cosplay, man. That is so cool. Oh, yes. Captain Blue says no spoilers. Several stereotypes can be forgiven because it is told by the protagonist who is not Norse himself, but an Arabic historical figure. So it is an outsider
Mm,
perspective, even in story. Eaters of the
gotcha.
Dead was made to a good but not great movie called 13th Warrior. I heard of 13th
Oh
Warrior.
yeah, I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but is Antonio Banderas in that? Is that who stars in that? Or is it
Mm,
Keanu Reeves? I don't know.
I don't
This was like a late '90s movie when like people were like, "Oh my God, Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton, like do whatever you have to acquire the movie rights to a Crichton book," and they
Uh-huh,
were like
uh-huh.
making all kinds of Crichton movies like 13th Warrior and Sphere and things like that.
I
Though
I
nothing was.
liked I liked
You like
Sphere.
Sphere?
I liked
Sphere's
Sphere
cool.
because it warped my mind as a kid. Like when I was a kid,
Yeah,
when I watched that, I was like, "What the fuck is going on, man?" It's like,
yeah,
"Whoa!" Samuel L. Jackson was in that, right? If I remember
yep,
correctly.
yep. Samuel Jackson,
Yeah,
Dustin
yeah.
Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. Um, I remember that was a trippy ass movie, and I really liked it. I really liked it. So that was cool.
Yeah, the book's really good too.
Yeah, and and just Michael, I would love to talk about movies with you, like Sphere and stuff like that. I don't know if it's on this channel. Maybe it's on your channel that we talk about movies, because movies is
Sure.
story based. So maybe something like that you can have on your stream in the future. We could talk about the movies that we like and why we like them and why we hate them and what works and what doesn't work and. Yeah,
Sure.
just get your general opinion. I think that would be
Hell yeah.
really fun to do. As
Yeah,
well
that's
as
yeah, great idea.
as well as video games too. I mean, hell, you could do
Mm,
whatever you want. So yeah.
yeah, I know. Is that Jack of all
Uh,
trades coming out again?
yeah, I know. Captain Blue says Antonio Banderas plays the protagonist. Yeah. Oh,
I
didn't remember.
knew it.
Nice, nice. Good
Never
job,
saw the
man.
movie, but vividly remembered the trailers.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Heavy says I did a small photo shoot earlier in the week. I'll drop some of
Ooh,
the better ones in the gallery if that's all right. Yes, that is a command. Please do it. Please do it.
thank
Thank
you.
you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that is awesome. Um, yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. I'm definitely going to grab something to eat. Michael, I know you kind of woke up and you didn't get a chance to eat yet, so I think we're gonna go ahead and call it for tonight. And thank you so much, Gentleman Heavy, Captain Blue Blue, again, both of you guys for being here and giving us, just following us and being a part of the journey. And again, Captain Blue Blue, you don't feel like you're not part of the journey because you definitely are part of the journey. So all the stuff that you're saying is very, very valuable to me and Michael. And again, you guys will be credited in the game for giving us such amazing and very, very, very helpful tips and suggestions. So really appreciate that. Captain Lulu, go get some rest because I know it's super, super, super late over there right now. It's so late that it's early morning. um, but yeah, Heavy, same with you. Hopefully you have a good night, and we will definitely see you on Sunday, right? The next Sunday at 7 p.m. PST.
That is
Same
correct. Yep.
same place, different time, different day. But yeah. All right, man. Anything else to add, Michael?
Uh, nope. I think that's it. We probably need some kind of like outgoing catchphrase or something that we can
Da da
give
da da
people
da
like a
da.
just keep being creative, bit by bit, day by day, or I don't know,
Yeah,
something like that. But
something creative and clever.
there you go.
Yeah.
We're gonna be creative and think about it, come up with something.
Yes.
So talk to you guys later. Thanks
All
for
right.
being with
Cool.
us.
All right. See you guys. Bye. See ya. All right. Well, hold on. There. Captain Blue says, "Oh, I want to see that. Perhaps participate in that, especially if it's Michael Crichton things. Ahoy! All right. Cool. Oh, actually, if you guys stick around, we will go ahead and raid one of our
Oh yeah,
friends, Prolific Top Cat. He is,
good job
uh,
remembering.
yeah, I totally forgot. So if you guys want to stick around, he's currently playing Batman Arkham
Ooh.
Asylum.
Oh wow,
Uh,
that's a classic.
yeah, and I don't think it worked. Sometimes it just,
Again? It
yeah,
didn't work last time too, right?
yeah. So I have to do it in this thing. Let's raid! Raid! Ah, hold on. Why isn't it
Mm,
working? Sorry, guys.
yep, still not working.
Raid. Hold on.